Basically, welcome to the training. If you're new to article marketing or you just haven't done it yet, this is mainly for you. However, if you have been doing it for a while and you're maybe not getting the results you want, or you're looking for, just a few kind of hints and tips, and you just want to learn some new information, then, stay tuned, because this will also benefit you as well. There's a couple of tools, particularly in the keyword research video that I've made for the article marketing series, which I think will benefit you in particular, because there's one tool in there that is really useful. If you want to skip to that, by the way, then please do if you are already into article marketing. If you're not, then stay tuned and we'll go through it right from the very beginning. I created this video series for my mum. Oh, aren't I sweet? I really did, basically to show her how to write articles that would be picked up by search engines and readers alike in order to generate traffic to our health site. This was just following a conversation we had. It was just literally over Christmas 2010. It's now January 2011. And we were just talking about how to create articles that were relevant and that would basically give the information that she has within her mind and within her business to people who were potential customers. Now, the whole video training is free, okay? All I ask in return is that you leave a comment on my blog underneath this article telling me how it may have helped you, and feel free to share it on Twitter and Facebook as well. The link to my blog and to this post on my blog will be at the bottom of the post if you're watching this on the Warrior Forum, and it will also be in the video descriptions on YouTube as well. So just click the link and go and leave a comment on my blog. Thanks. So, the first question, why write articles? Okay, well, basically they demonstrate your value to the world before people reach your site. It's like a soft pre-sale, basically. You get targeted traffic through specific information. Those looking for your info are clearly interested in finding out more, otherwise they wouldn't be reading the article in the first place. So your site can provide them with more helpful info. So if you think of it like a funnel, like a sales funnel, then what's basically going to happen is that at the very beginning they're going to get loads of really great free information, which is going to kind of bring them as a build-up almost to want to find out more. And when they want to find out more, they go through to your website where they can potentially get onto your list, or they can go onto your site and maybe go to the adverts, or they can go to a variety of different information, which will bring them on from the information that you've already given them in the article. So you're going to create more and more trust and more of a relationship with people, okay? And that's really what this is all about, creating relationships with potential customers. Now, it doesn't cost you any money to do this, okay? So this is another reason why writing articles is a good way of sharing your information with the world. It's also a great way of building your list. I mentioned the kind of sales funnel. Ideally, you're going to be sending people from your articles, from the free information that you've given them, to your mailing list, and for them to sign up to get something even better. So if you're doing that, then it's a great way in which you can build your list very, very quickly indeed. So, can you really get free traffic from articles? Well, the answer is yes, you can. However, it's not exactly free. Let me explain. You see, you trade your time instead of your money, and it's a good idea to start thinking of your time as being as precious, if not more precious, than the money that you earn is. Okay, because the money basically gives you the chance to have the life you want, potentially, in terms of your time, but ultimately it's time and the way you spend your time that gives you the quality of life that you really want. So you need to be aware of that, and that you need to be kind of doing things that are as leveraged as possible. I'm going to talk about that a bit later on. As a result, it's very important that you spend your time, as I mentioned, as effectively as you possibly can. And the method I'm going to show you isn't perfect by any means, but it does work, and it works very well when applied consistently. It's also a pretty effective use of your time, I think, as well. I am somewhat biased, but I think it's a pretty effective way of doing it, even being as objective as I can about it. This is a great way for small businesses that have a little bit of time and not huge amounts of money as well, in order to generate traffic to your website. Basically, the more visitors you have to your site, the more money you're going to make, more or less. Okay, I mean that's a kind of sweeping statement, because it depends on a lot of other factors as well. But more or less, if you can drive thousands of people instead of hundreds to your site, you're likely to get more people buying from you. So how long is it going to take? Some people might be asking. Well, naturally, it depends on the articles you're going to write and your own writing speed as well. If you can, turn out 5 of these articles in an hour, then that's fantastic. If you can only do 1, that's cool, no problem at all. But you just have to understand that it means you're going to get to different levels and different places at different speeds because of that, okay? Now, personally, it takes me around 30 minutes to turn out a good quality article using this method, okay? And the writing time is probably one of the smallest parts of that process. You'll see what I mean when we get into the other videos. But it takes me about half an hour right now. I'm currently doing 1 or 2 per day, which is not very much. It's a minimum of 1 per day. I try and do 2 if I possibly can, and just put 2 really good quality articles out there onto the article directories. Now, as with all businesses, and I've mentioned this earlier on, leverage is key. Okay, I'm going to show you a tool that you can use to get more leverage at the end of these videos. Okay, so once we've gone through the whole process and you understand it from A to Z, then I'm going to give you an extra little boost at the end, which is going to help to leverage the content that you've written and get it out to many more people than you would just by doing it on one directory. Okay. So what level of traffic can you expect? Well, again, this is partially going to depend on how good your articles are. And what I mean by that is simply the quality of the information you're giving and the ease at which people can read it. If it's very easy and very readable, then the chances are more people are going to want to read it and pass it on to their friends, who in turn are going to want to read it as well. The basic rule is that the more you write, the more great info you give, the better that your articles will get, okay? It also depends on doing some really good research in order that people find your articles in the first place, and I'm going to talk about more of that a bit later on. However, let's assume that you write one article per day for a year, not working on weekends, okay? So that's not much, is it? That's 261 articles over the course of that 1 year. So how much traffic is that going to produce? Well, if you were to average 5 readers per article who are actually clicking on your link, I'm talking about people actually taking action as a result of your article, that's 261 times 5, okay, multiplied by 5, that's 1,305 extra visitors to your site for that year, okay? Now that's not a massive amount, okay? It may not sound like a lot, and to be honest, it really isn't, but this is using very, very conservative numbers, okay, and no leverage. So if you were to just do this on one article directory, like EasyIn Articles, for example, then this is kind of the result you could potentially expect, okay? But that's still 1,305 extra visitors that you wouldn't have had otherwise. If you were to double the number of articles that you produce, that's 522 multiplied by 5, which gives you 2,610 extra visitors for that year. And again, that's with no leverage and with relatively conservative numbers. Okay, I would personally expect to get more people than just 5 clicking through on the articles, because again, I'm going to show you ways in which to make the articles more interesting and more compelling to go through and to click on than you would normally get. Okay. So getting leverage is something I spoke about earlier on, and later on, as I say, I'm going to show you some ways of getting more leverage and a tool that will help you to do that. For now, let's get on with the basics of how to write articles for traffic. I'm going to cover some good topics to write about for any market, and then I'm going to show you live on the screen how to research and write them, okay? So you might be asking this question, what do I write about? How on earth do I know what to write about? What if I get writer's block? And those sort of questions. Well, the first thing is to make sure that you're writing from a mindset of giving. You need to have that in your head from the very beginning, of helping people and giving as much as you possibly can. And many business owners are a little bit worried about this kind of mentality because they think they're going to give away everything. I assure you, you're not going to, especially using this particular method, okay? So make sure you get into that mindset of giving to people and giving people as much good information as you can. The more you give, the more you'll get back. And this might sound a little corny, but it is 100% true. So write on topics that will help your reader to solve a problem that they have. Most people are looking for answers and solutions to problems. If you can be one of those solutions and one of those answers, they're likely to come back to you again in the future when they have other problems in that same related area, okay? Now I'm going to show you how to find out what those problems are later on. In fact, I'm even going to show you a tool that actually gives you the exact questions people are typing into Google, okay, which is incredibly powerful. So we'll be looking at that a bit later on. So here's an example of some good titles and article styles that you can potentially include in your article writing arsenal. First of all, it's how-to articles, okay? These are the step-by-step guides to doing something, okay? Doing X, Y, and Z. So a how-to guide to doing something within your marketplace that is going to solve someone's problem, or even just, help them to be better or whatever it is. There's many people who are not necessarily looking for answers to problems, but ways in which to improve themselves, whether that's self-development, whether that's rock climbing, whether that's archery, whether it's, it could be anything. But they're looking for ways in which to improve certain aspects of their life. List articles are also very powerful. In fact, these are hugely popular and they're very, very shareable, by which I mean it's a very simple thing to read and a very simple thing to share. Things like 10 top ways to do X or 5 top tips for Y. Loads of really good articles get written on those sorts of themes. And they're very powerful because we like lists. Human beings tend to really like lists because they're very concise. You can see exactly how much you've got to read in a very quick glance. You can just look at the page and go, right, 10 tips. It's not going to take me long to read. Bang, 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 bang. Go through each one of them and there you are, job done. And people like that. They like that immediacy about it. Also, bullet points through an article, or 10 top tips, suggests that you're going to be able to read it relatively quickly and digest it quite simply. And again, people are looking for the quick answer to whatever it is, even if the answer itself isn't quick. For example, curing a skin condition, for example, might take you a month, might take you 2 months, but they want the way to do it relatively quickly so they can get on with doing it. Also, frequently asked questions are good. If you already run a business and you have a hobby, or you have got a site about something that you're interested in that way, then put together an FAQ article about it in order to basically inform potential customers. So let's say you get the same question asked 3 or 4 times a week. Well, if that's the case, you can write an article that answers that question. That way you're actually answering the question before they even ask it. It's quite powerful because it shows that you're in tune with your marketplace, and people appreciate that. So some other article ideas you can get. There's loads of material out there already that can inspire you. Your content should be original, i.e. written by you and not copied from people. But that doesn't mean that you can't take inspiration from other places and from other people. So if you find a video that you like, for example, you can take inspiration from the tips that are in it and create a top tips article. So let's say someone makes a video all about the way in which to do a certain thing within your marketplace. You can find that on YouTube, and then you can take the tips that they use in it, distill them, put them into your own words, and create an article using that. Okay. For example, I found a video of rapper Jay-Z talking about his daily routine. I'm a big fan of Jay-Z, a big fan of his kind of school of thought and the way in which he's run his business, okay? Because he's a businessman as well as a performer. And if you were into the self-development market, you could take this and use it as the basis of an article. I could do that for the internet marketing niche in my internet marketing blog. I could take that and use that as an example and, make that into a little blog post about what your daily routine is. I could talk about my daily routine, talk about his, and ask people, what theirs is and how do they structure their day for the most success, the most effective work rate. So the anatomy of an article, what are we actually going to be writing? Well, first of all, there's obviously the title of the article. It needs to be catchy, intriguing, and clear, in my opinion. This is the premise for the rest of the article, okay? That's what your title is. So it needs to be, as intriguing, as interesting as possible for people to want to click on it. It also needs to be keyword rich, and I'm going to talk about that later on in the keyword research video. There's also the article summary or the teaser. Again, this needs to be interesting and to create expectation with people. And the teaser copy should outline the problem and the idea of a solution, but not the actual solution itself. So you can give people, a hint of what the solution might be, but unless you actually give them something to go on in the rest of the article, then it's kind of not worth writing the rest of the article, if you see what I mean. So, for example, the teaser copy needs to just give them a little hint, and it's a tease. That's exactly right in terms of what it's called. The teaser copy should do just that. It should tease people into wanting to read the rest of the article. Also, the article body, this is where you deliver on the promise of your title and the teaser copy itself. So once you've created the expectation in the title, once you've excited that expectation in the teaser copy, then you need to deliver it in the article body itself. And that article body, as I say, is about 350 words, maybe 400 words. Article requirements, well, I've mentioned some of these already. For the main strategy I'm going to show you, the articles we'll be writing will be between 350 and 400 words long. They'll be keyword rich, and the keyword density will be 2 to 3%. And what I mean by the keyword density is literally the number of words within the article. Let's say there's 350 words in the article. 2 to 3% of those words need to be keywords that people are going to be looking for online. And the reason for that is simply that it helps you to get found on Google more easily. It means that the SEO for the article is more effective, basically. Also, I'd suggest that you write in simple language in order to reach and serve the maximum number of people. When I say simple language, I don't mean treat your audience like an idiot, because they're not. But I do mean that you need to make your language as accessible as possible, not to use archaic terms, not to use terms that are outdated or terms that are perhaps not in regular parlance, if you like, regular speech. That's an example right there, actually, parlance. I could have said speech. I went for parlance. So that's an example of a word, if I was writing it in an article, that I could take out, because people, especially people who are not necessarily English as their first language, they're going to find it difficult. Okay, so that's an example right there that I've just done for you. So with that in mind, let's get started with the first step, and that is keyword research. We'll see you in the next video.